This is the actual. This the actual. Oh, it's so good. It's a shit ton of dumb, and it's basically a grievance paper. None of this. It's supposed to be like a it's supposed to be a RICO lawsuit. Foof. But it's. I mean, here I'll show you real quick before we even get into this, because he's going to delve into how great this is. I have no doubt, because that's the name of this thing. I'm not studying ahead. Trump details the very strong, in all caps and quotes, case to sue Hillary Clinton. Okay, there we go. Sue in all caps. This is his lawsuit right here. This is the thing about it, and he's suing everybody. It's not just Hillary. He's suing the DNC, their corporation, Perkins Coie, Michael Sussman, Mark Elias, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Charles Dolan, Jake Sullivan, John Podesta, Robert Moon. It's like as a list. Bruce Orr, Nellie Orr's wife, Christopher Steele, probably for having sex with Ivanka before he did. Igor Danchenko for just having a Russian-y sounding name. New Star, which is hilarious that he's suing them, but we'll get to that. Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, The Lovers. The Lovers. Oh yeah, we got a level 4 hype train happening. Twitch.tv/HalSparks. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have Amazon Prime in your life, it doesn't cost you a dime. You get a free month for all these things. You could just keep redoing it. There you go. All right. So there's a bunch of this shit. All right. Under the guise of opposition research, data analytics, and other political stratagems, the defendants nefariously sought to sway the public's trust. Oh, did they now? So Trump is suing someone because they allegedly nefariously sought to sway the public's trust. You mean like hiding an affair you had by paying hush money so that the public doesn't think you're a philandering prick who had an affair with a porn star while your wife was home with a 4-month-old? Yeah. They worked together with a single self-serving purpose. I don't know that you can have a single self-serving purpose, since there are so many selves. Okay. To vilify Donald J. Trump. Dun, dun, dun! Apparently it is illegal to vilify someone, says the guy who had a shit nickname for everyone he was running against. Indeed, their far-reaching conspiracy was designed to cripple Trump's bid for presidency by fabricating a scandal that would be used to trigger an unfounded federal investigation, which, of course, would only be true if he was elected, and this is all during a campaign, and opposition. This is no guarantee that it wouldn't help him in the campaign. This is all right. Meanwhile, this fucker, this is basically to counteract the Zelensky call and distract, hey, we got a hype train. Yay! Hype train. Thank you, Stargal. 843 subs. It's closing in on 1,000. I'm very excited. Okay, and ignite a media frenzy, because Trump has never been interested in igniting a media frenzy. I'd love to have Noel on. We'll work that out. I'll reach out to him on a morning show. That'd be nice. The scheme was conceived and coordinated, carried out by top-level officials of the Clinton campaign and the DNC, including the candidate herself, who was rubbing her hands and cackling like a witch while eating pizza in the basement of a drunk on adrenochrome. Right? Okay. Anyways, a lot of this is just grievance work. Sorry, but a shit ton of this isn't illegal, even if you think it should be. It just ain't. While the multi-pronged attack, which was self-serving, was underway, the defendants seized on the opportunity to publicly malign Donald J. Trump by instigating a full-blown media frenzy, which they were... What was this media frenzy part back? They ignited it back here, and then they instigated the full-blown one down here. They're just doing this with these people having sex. All right, anyways, you get the point. This is his bullshit thing. It ain't nothing. There is no fucking way that any court in the land will take this genuinely seriously. And again, based on what? What kind of America do you want to live in where some dipshit could sue you for this? For being cunning or something, I guess, because that's all he's really alleging. They made up stuff about me. You're kidding, right? Show me the Hunter Biden laptop. Show it to me. Show me the laptop. Show me the laptop. It's not going to happen. Here we go.
Hello, Glenn. How are you?
I'm good.
Hello, Glenn. How are you?
President Trump, how are you?
Hello, Glenn. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on and talking about this. You are some of the claims in this suit: the RICO conspiracy, injurious falsehood, conspiracy to commit.
Injurious, this motherfucker. Injurious falsehood. Donald Trump is suing someone for injurious falsehood.
Injurious falsehood, malicious prosecution.
Malicious prosecution. You can't sue a campaign that happened before the election for the fact that you got impeached after the fucking fact.
Computer fraud and abuse act, theft of trade secrets. The list goes.
Theft of trade secrets. That's what this boils down to. It's copyright infringement. They tried to make up shit about people, and that's my job. They called people nasty names. That's how I made my bones. I'm suing you for copyright infringement. This was all a part of their big plan for industrial espionage.
On and on and on. This is really not. Is this about the 2016 election, or is this really about what they did to you this whole time?
Yes. Is this a lawsuit about the 2016, or are you just whining in legal form? Since you have these guys on retainer, you're like, type something up. I'm paying for this stuff.
Well, I think it's about everything. It covers a lot of territory. It was totally corrupt what they did. If this were done, and you know this perhaps better than anybody else in the universe, if this were...
Why would Glenn Beck know better than anyone else in the universe? What?
In the opposite way. As you know, they spied on my campaign.
Hold on, wait. Back up. Did I jump forward or back? What's happening?
If this were done the opposite way.
They did to you this whole time.
Well, I think it's about everything. It covers a lot of territory. It was totally corrupt what they did. If this were done, and you know this perhaps better than anybody else in the universe, if this were done the opposite way, as you know, they spied on my campaign. When I made that statement, everyone thought, oh, my God, what a horrible thing to say.
No, it's just stupid. I didn't pearl clutch on that one. For the record, I was like, oh, this jackass thinks that because we have the Russians' phones tapped and he called them that we're spying on his campaign? Good
I said
Lord.
Obama spied on my campaign and the Democrats and all.
By the way, his own lawsuit says that some of this gathering of information happened while Obama was still president, as far as they bugged the White House. Right, all right.
Hell broke loose, if you remember. In fact, I put it out, and I don't think I've ever seen a reaction, which usually means they're guilty. In other words, no.
Yes. Anytime you accuse someone of something and they get upset about it, it clearly means they're guilty. You know, like when you call Republicans racist to their face. They all just go, I'm not racist. I don't have to even respond to that.
They didn't do it. It wouldn't have that kind of. But they spied.
No. Yes. You do realize he lost the election, and I guess technically speaking, he wouldn't be reacting like this and flipping out for a year if he didn't know he had lost the election. Following this logic,
campaign. If this ever happened the opposite way, if I spied on Obama's campaign or on Hillary Clinton's campaign,
well, yeah, it would have to be. Well, you'd have to have the skills to. Never mind.
Oh, it would have been.
It would have been treason. It would have been everything right up into the death penalty, and that may have been included too.
Yeah. Yes. They would have assassinated you for getting publicly available digital data and writing an op-ed or an Oppo research paper summing up your opponent. And yes, that's the kind of country we live in. That's America, according to Donald Trump. They would have murdered him Yes, the American. That's what it would have happened. Good Lord.
It would have been over. It would have been the biggest thing ever. But it didn't work that way. So we caught him, and we caught him cold, and we've been just building it up and watching. And frankly, we wish Bill Barr had the courage to do it.
Yeah.
Or do it.
If only Bill Barr had been hired by someone who wasn't a complete asshole who knows nothing about anything that's in front of him and just picks people out of a hat based on comes highly recommended. That was enough. That just goes on sort of namesake and recommendation from people who know. If at least, you know, someone with a shred of integrity, decency, and intelligence had hired somebody better in that spot.
So, but we decided to do it. Bill Barr was so afraid of being impeached, he didn't want to do anything. He got, at the end, I mean, he was
so afraid of being impeached, he left.
Terrified of being impeached, so he didn't want to do a damn thing.
Oh, God, he's salivating again. Impeached. We're watching as Donald Trump slowly turns into Ann Ramsey and Throw Mama from the Train. Owen doesn't have any friends. I was robbed. What a dream I was having. Hillary Clinton was trying to kill me. Get away from me, you horse's ass.
You know, how do you not get impeached? Let's not do anything. You know,
yeah, that's a good start. I think you can actually technically get impeached for not doing anything if you're supposed to be doing something. Executing the office of... All right, never mind. By the way, 666 people showing up in the chat. You know what time that is. 666 in the... Super chat. If you want to help out today, it's great. Take the $6.66 challenge or any variation thereof. You're not going to turn it down. No job is too big. No fee is too big.
That talk started dying down. But we've been building this up for a long time. The Durham report, hopefully it's just the early moments of the Durham report came out.
You mean the Durham report that hasn't come out? You mean the 2 indictments that are going to be totally thrown out? That are fucking nothing.
And that added to it.
Did it? It added to it. Yeah, this is like, he's entering like Mike Pillow zone, where like we've never been in a better position than we are right now.
A lot of things are happening, but they all knew it. I mean, look, Obama knew about it too. I mean, it wasn't...
I know it, you know it, dogs know it. All right.
It wasn't just crooked Hillary. But we expect that names will be added to it as it goes along. But this is very...
Yeah, why turn in a finished document when you can just kind of... Your Honor, we would like the ability to file a lawsuit and constantly amend it during the process.
But can you imagine if it were the opposite way and I spied on, let's say, Obama's campaign?
He just said that. Look, I know a lot of people think this is Trump knowing that if you got to repeat the lie over and over again for the propaganda to take effect, like Bush said, or that he's got some sort of magical way of controlling and manipulating the listener and the media. I just think he's a repetitious old fart.
And not only that, much of the stuff, when you think about it, took place beyond the campaign. It was when we were in the Oval Office.
I know.
They spied while we were in the Oval Office. So it wasn't just campaign, which in itself is...
Well, no, I mean, technically speaking, when you're talking about it, you hadn't been sworn in yet. You were moving shit in. This was during the transition. That during the transition, a bunch of Russian phones were pinging in the White House and on White House grounds. These unsecured Russian burners were all showing up, like 1,000 hits. Whenever Mike Flynn and his fucks all started showing up to move in their paperwork, that it was weird. It just kind of spiked around that, right?
Really bad, but it took place when we were in the Oval Office.
So
yeah, visiting, not you're like looking around, talking about drapes. You hadn't taken the oath of office yet.
The problem here is nobody ever pays for anything.
Yeah, nobody ever pays for anything. Well, the taxpayer did. The taxpayer paid for 300 years of presidential salary just so that Trump could go golfing at his own properties. So I guess some people do pay for people, but basically the argument is, I guess Glenn is going to make, is that this thing is not going to actually go anywhere. Not because it's a poorly written piece of shit that rambles and makes no point and tries to sue someone for making you feel bad, which, again, I mean, this is one of the biggest snowflake lawsuits I've ever seen. They made it hard for me, and they look at my stuff, and that stuff. All right. And also it materially misrepresents reality in the first 5 sections? Where is it? Because I was reading a bunch of this. Hold on. Charles Halliday Dolan, who knowingly provided false information related to Steele, who reported the Steele dossier at the same time. Where is it? Sussman. That's probably later. I was reading onto this. Special counsel Robert Mueller, based on Durham. The full extent of the defendant's wrongdoing has been steadily and gradually exposed. Get on with it. It's steadily and gradually exposed. There's been 2 indictments, and both of them are fart air. But okay. To date, he's already issued indictments to Sussman and Danchenko. And, for proffering false statements to law enforcement officials. As outlined, okay, so that's Danchenko for proffering false statements. That's not true. The FBI agent said they never asked Danchenko if he was working on his own, or Sussman if he was working on his own, saying this. He didn't misrepresent why he was there. He had every right to be there and go, look, my client doesn't want to go after this asshole, but I do, because this asshole's a criminal. In short, the defendants, blinded by political ambition, orchestrated a malicious conspiracy to disseminate patently false and injurious information. The injurious information, of course, is not false. That's the real shit. Patently false. He's a Nazi. Right, so that'll be like, we dismiss that out of hand. The shit about the Alpha Bank server, that's injurious. We don't need that getting out. Again, you can't leak a lie. So Donald J. Trump and his campaign, all in the hopes of destroying his life, his political career, and rigging the 2016 presidential election in favor of Hillary Clinton. How do you rig it? You can't rig an election through campaigning. When their gambit failed and Donald Trump was elected, the defendants' efforts continued unabated. Well, they were definitely abated. Because I guess technically they weren't in office. Merely shifting their focus to undermining his presidential administration by getting him to hire Rick Perry and Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr, and they totally undermined his administration by suggesting he hire all these assholes. Worse still, the defendants continue to spread their vicious lies to this day, as they unabashedly publicize their thoroughly debunked falsehoods in an effort to ensure that he will never be elected again. The deception, malice, and treachery, which, by the way, technically, deception, malice, and treachery, I think all covered under the First Amendment. Just free speech perpetrated by the defendants has caused significant harm to the American people. Oh, I didn't realize we all had standing. I didn't realize this was a class action lawsuit on my behalf. And to the plaintiff, Donald J. Trump. And they must be held accountable for their heinous act. What does he want? He wants, he's broke as fuck. He wants his legal bills paid. And then the parties are like, him, the plaintiff, and then he just lists all these people. It's just a listing and a listing and a listing. And then this is the whole thing. And then they go through this whole thing. This is the... Where is it? Oh, I'll get it. Yeah. They go into stuff about, and around that same time, as later disclosed through WikiLeaks, which, by the way, Russia was linked to the release of these documents. Ask DC Leaks about this. Holy shit. Release of confidential DC document shows the head of the DNC stated in an email that Clinton's Democratic competitor, Bernie Sanders, isn't going to be president. Yes, because he had a ceiling of 30% in the country. Even if he won the primary, he would lose in the general. Please, this is the same Ron Paul bullshit we heard for years. Ron Paul was never going to be president either. Anyways, so this is, but there's a lot in this.
There are no consequences anymore in government if you're on the right side. Well,
I mean, he means right wing, not right as in correct. And also, there are consequences if you're on the right wing side, which is you get someone else gets your job. You get chucked out of office. Actually, that's
people are sick to death of it. But this is going now to I think his name is Donald Middlebrooks, and he was appointed by Bill Clinton.
Which is a conflict of interest, in my opinion. That's right. We have a judge who was appointed by Bill Clinton, who knows Hillary Clinton very well, and
all right. Because he knows Hillary Clinton because he was appointed during the Clinton administration?
Hillary Clinton and Clinton, they were suing the Democrats, and we have a judge. This is the way it works for Republicans, you know.
Right. And this is
So I think it's a total conflict of interest, and that's unfortunate.
Also, what is it? You just get a judge you appointed? You appointed 300 judges. You filed the case where you filed the fucking case in Florida.
Yeah, this is the guy who threw out the lawsuit filed against Hillary over her using private email accounts and servers while she served as Secretary of State. So
and nobody could.
So that was asked and answered on the federal level. He threw it out because there was no jurisdiction on this. You cannot get a private civilian filing a lawsuit because you think a crime has been committed and you want, you want discovery from the Secretary of State. Eat me.
That he threw that out.
Right.
Nobody could believe it.
That's what we have FOIA for, and voting.
So what are the odds, or what is the
goose egg? Fucking zero. Nothing. It's you own anything but real estate, you own a beer fart.
And how do you think you're going to... I can't believe I'm asking this question because justice should be justice.
I know. It's amazing. It's thank you, Glenn, for pointing out that sometimes, justice doesn't go your way. And I'm glad you care about that now. And not just about this asshole in Jan 6. Oh, wait.
How are you going to maneuver around a judge like this?
Yeah. Well, I think, and I talked to the lawyers, they called up and they said, we have good news and bad news. Everyone thinks...
We have good news and bad news. Good news is we finished typing up your bullshit. Bad news is it's bullshit.
Case is incredible. And I don't think I've ever received more positive remarks from people. They're so tired of nobody doing anything.
I know.
Yeah. And finally, somebody has the guts to file a frivolous bullshit lawsuit. Finally, someone has seizes the reins of power with worthless litigation, wasting the court and the taxpayers' time. Thank God. Weird. It's filed out of Suite 240 in Bedminster, New Jersey at 1430. You mean from his actual golf place? Does she work out of there now? The Tick 10 Law Group? Really? In Deerfield Beach? Jury demand. The plaintiff demands a trial by jury of all issues so triable. Yeah, that's going to happen. At all material times, the above-named employees were all acting within the scope of their employment, performing work for their employer at the time of the tortious? Is that a legal term that's properly spelled, or torturous misspelled? Conduct, and therefore responsible for the actions of their employees. This is like, everybody's guilty. Everyone is guilty. Everyone has liability. Anybody, the janitor at these fucking companies. The nerve of these people. All right, never mind.
We have them, and we've caught them.
Tortious, thank you.
And then Barr did...
Thank you. Tortious is a civil suit term. Thank you very much, Flang Doodle. I appreciate that.
Because Barr was lazy and scared.
Hey, gee, it's almost like fish stinks from the head. You hired him.
And he was scared. Contempt, they wanted to hold him in contempt. You remember those days?
Yep.
Didn't want any part of contempt, which means going to jail. And he...
Hi, Andy, Sarah.
On any part of impeachment, they were going to impeach him numerous times.
So
he didn't do his job.
But if
frankly,
yeah, well, I and again, according to your lawsuit, let's see, according to the lawsuit that Trump filed, let's see if I can find this. But I just yeah. At all material times, the above-named employees were all acting within the scope of their employment, performing work for their employer at the time of the tortious conduct, and therefore are responsible for the actions of their employees. That applies to Bill Barr, as far as I'm concerned. And if you didn't want a fuck up in office, then a fuck up shouldn't have hired him.
And it's very sad that he didn't, because this case is incredible. No, we have a judge who was appointed by the Clintons, and who threw out stuff like it was waste paper, and it's very unfair.
So,
yeah, there's nothing about this. This technically, I have to say, this lawsuit is not a waste of paper, but only because I didn't print it out, and he is slobbering all over himself. Adderall and speed benzos will make you salivate.
Mr. President, you have government officials like Orr, Comey, McCabe,
right?
Seemingly actively engaging in this. We're waiting for the Durham report, but
yeah, I mean, just assume people who took an oath, just assume the worst in them, Glenn. It's the Christian thing to do.
You have Bruce Orr funneling the Steele dossier to the DOJ, right, and the.
Yeah, it's almost as if he went, holy fuck, funneling it to the DOJ. Yes, you had Bruce Orr finding a gun on the ground and admitting it into evidence.
Yeah, they knew that it was false.
No, they did not.
They need a harsher punishment than just.
Yeah, than just a book or something. I don't know.
A lawsuit. But do you have any confidence that the Justice Department now is anything other than a political organ?
Well,
I got your political organ right here, Glenn.
It would be wonderful. We'll have to see. And this was accumulating for a long time. It's one of those things we're going to have to see. We're hitting them very hard.
Oh my God. Say something. It's just one of those things. We've been accumulating it for a long time. This is a thing, and it's a shame, and we were cheated, and it was rigged, and everybody's against me.
Right. More and more information is coming out. Even since we filed it, all of a sudden people are calling. People are so happy that a case is finally being filed.
Yeah, they're so excited. All over Telegram.
Against these people.
It's the talk of Truth Social.
The two lovers, they go out and they sue the government because they haven't been treated well, and yet they were using servers and everything. The whole thing is crazy.
They were using servers? Wait, Strzok and Page were effectively using private email servers? What?
I said I've got to do it. I'd rather not have to do this. I'd rather have government handle it. This should be handled by government.
Yeah, I'd rather have the government do this for me for free. Like a legal welfare queen.
But it can be handled by us very strongly. And this is a very...
Yes, it is very strongly. Very strongly. This is so strong.
Strong case. People that read this case said, wow, this is a strong case. And this case...
That's what they said? They're like, they read this strong case and they were like, wow, this is a strong case. And then they handed it back to me and went back to the omelet bar. And it was amazing. It's such a quick read. They go, yeah, this is a strong case. And they hold it in a way of honor like this when they hand it back to me. And they go, this is a strong case. And they do that, that eye roll, eyebrow lift you do when you really mean what you're saying. Yeah, this is a strong case. And then they laughed after because they knew what was going to happen to Hillary Clinton.
Bill, now the problem we have, though, is if you have a judge that's going to throw out the case and you have to go through appeals, I think you have a great appeal section, but we'll see. But we have a great
appeal section. Chapter 4. How do I appeal? How do I appeal without you?
It's very unfair. So we'll probably ask for a recusal, maybe a change of venue, but not a change as much as a recusal.
I think...
Yeah, not so much a change of venue, because then we would have to go to a district outside and provide standing. And I don't want to... I'm currently Putining my golf courses right now. I don't leave those places.
It's amazing. One of the defendants in the case is a former State Department official and spokesperson for Clinton, Philip Raines, and he tweeted yesterday, I think this is hysterical. He looks forward to deposing President Trump. I'm not too concerned. They're laughing at this, and I have to tell you,
it is funny. Does Trump, hold on, does anybody think this is Trump, that as he said this, that Trump's like, wait a minute, they can depose me? Like, yeah, you get discovery in a civil suit. They get to ask you whatever. You can't avoid being deposed in a suit you brought.
Just as a spectator here.
Yeah, that's Glenn. He's not really invested. You know what I mean? He's just, I'm an outsider looking in, Mr. Former President.
You are probably the most investigated man on planet Earth.
Yep.
Yep. Nope.
Every single intelligence agency, at least in Five Eyes, and I'll bet you it's all around the world, every newspaper, every reporter, every journalist have dug through everything, and you're pretty clean. So,
well, except his taxes, I think, you know.
What do they think they're going to get from you
Well, I think part of what a lot of people expect to get is, did you ever tell the bank your properties are worth this much, and the tax man, it was worth this much? Because it looks like that on here. Where were you when this happened? Were you in Weissman's office when he signed off on this? Did you suggest this? Right.
Position.
Yeah, beyond pretty clean. I have a friend, a very successful guy, said...
Oh, he said, you must be the most innocent person in the world.
You're the cleanest man in history. I mean...
You're the cleanest man in history? The fuck? Was it Ronnie Jackson? Was he licking a brown fingernail at the time?
This, where Paul Weiss, a big law firm, that's a total Democrat Hillary Clinton firm, sends one of their partners, Robert Schumer heads it, or one of the big partners, Robert Schumer, that's Chuck Schumer's brother, sends one of their big partners into the Manhattan DA's office, take 2 of our people and 3 of our people, you tough, smart young guys, and go into the Manhattan DA's office. Never happened before, because they have hundreds of lawyers, do a good job. They took their partner, top guy, an anti-Trump, a Trump hater, like you wouldn't believe. All of them.
Oh no, I would believe it. I mean, it's one of those things. Hey, we got 1,000 people in the chat. Thank you very much. $10 chats. It's a good thing to do right now when we have 1,000 folks in. If you feel like it, if you want.
Massive contribution. One of the biggest donors, that firm, to Hillary Clinton. Put him in the DA's office.
Oh, and Pliable Stats thinks that this is apparently, for some reason, thinks that this is a cupcake interview, and I think that's wrong. I don't think that's the case. Let me see. I don't know if that is possible or not. It's get the fuck out of here. I'm sick of this bullshit. What was he talking about? The #1 guys at the Manhattan DA. They just let him skate. He's bought his way out of every fucking thing.
Prosecute Trump. Let's get Trump. Now we can get him. And Vance.
Yeah, it's weird how everybody who sees the evidence against you is like, fuck this guy.
Vance, whose father sold the Panama Canal, as you know, for $1. In the worst, perhaps the single worst business transaction ever made by our country.
I don't know. Did you ever see Jeffrey Epstein's real estate transactions? $70 million apartment in New York for $1. I mean, considering what happened there, you went there. I've never been there. You've been there. Glenn, ask him what what Jeffrey Epstein's $70 million $1 apartment was like.
And Cy Vance, instead of using one of his hundreds and hundreds of lawyers, of course, he used 20% of, I heard close to 20% of the DA's office, hundreds of lawyers. 20% was used on this instead of the murders.
Yeah, it's weird how he used all the accountants and the detectives that work on financial crimes to go after financial crimes. Why aren't they out looking for murderers? You know, maybe that's what we need. We need to tax refund the cops. Send out with every police officer, send out a fucking accountant. That'll do it. What the fuck do you think they're going to find at a murder scene that a detective's not going to find? A receipt? Aha! He paid retail for the knife. The fuck?
Drug dealers, the crime, the street crime in New York, which is
the street crime, which is way worse than the just indoor crime. It's more portable.
Record level.
I know.
They were all focused on getting Trump. But how would you like it? And in all fairness, the new gentleman who came in, Alvin Bragg, who is a considered liberal, he looked at this thing, and I mean, I'm reading the papers, but what he said is such an honor.
Wait a minute, you're reading the papers? Your lawyers didn't tell you, like, hey, he's dumping it downstream because the feds are coming after you.
He couldn't believe it. I heard he was very disturbed by the fact that they sent a team of Hillary Clinton Trump haters in to prosecute Trump.
Yeah.
From a firm that's 100%, that's totally against.
Yeah, and it's so weird how a group of lawyers, people who represent the most reprehensible fucks in the world, once they see the boxes of evidence against you, it's amazing. These people would work for OJ, but you...
It's one of the main Democrat firms. I think the main Democrat firm.
Yeah, no, there's like two big Democrat firms within this Democrat. It's basically, there's this one, and then there's George Soros, attorney at law.
And I think they have tremendous legal liability. But he sent this sleazebag in to get Trump. Think of this. They sent this guy in to get Donald Trump. So he acted as a prosecutor.
And you weren't even there. You were at another site entirely. Like, you don't work there. Why was he looking for you there?
He's a never Trumper who contributed to. So it continues. But Alvin Bragg saw that, and he also saw. By the way, the banks weren't hurt. Trump's statement is very powerful. I have a great statement. My statement is so strong.
It's a great statement. Yes, that's what you need. A statement. Nothing's more important in a legal proceeding than a statement. You made a strong statement. Filing something, a defense, fuck that.
And all of the other things. And
all of it.
Think of
everything.
That. They sent a Trump hater to act as the...
Well, in the defense, it's getting a lot harder to find somebody who isn't a Trump hater these days. I know you only surround yourself with like rally crowds and bullshit artists, but they can't fucking stand you either. Let's be honest. None of the fucking staff at Mar-a-Lago like this guy. You kidding me? Nobody that works for him likes him. Leeches don't like the hippo. They're just there because that's how they survive.
To bring down Donald Trump, and they still couldn't find anything.
No, that dude just quit because they did find a bunch of shit, and they're not going after him. He's pissed. One of the guys who worked on it is like, you committed multiple felonies. Dude, the dude resigned in protest.
I'll
gotta live with this. Hey,
Glenn, interrupt him.
You gotta live this life. Okay?
I know.
A lot of fun. I did it.
You gotta live this life. Elvis, want some lemonade? Lemonade.
Your job as president. Right now, you wouldn't be in Ukraine. 100%. Russia would not be there.
Yeah, right. You wouldn't be there. Russia wouldn't be there. Glenn, it wouldn't be broadcasting from Ukraine. He'd still be pretending to get people out of Afghanistan, but only if they pass a Christian multiple choice quiz?
100%. I spoke to Putin about it. I know that Putin's attitude toward Ukraine better than anybody but his closest girlfriend, okay?
Oh, all right. Anybody but his closest girlfriend. Wait a minute. What kind of relationship did you have with him?
River.
How in the what? His closest girlfriend?
Your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
What are you talking about?
I know his attitude, that I know all about him in Ukraine. I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. And I told him why.
Watch
and
girlfriend.
I'm not going to tell you right now, but I'll tell you at the right time.
Yeah, I won't tell you now, because then you would know it's bullshit. But I'm going to pretend a couple weeks. 2 weeks, Glenn. 2 weeks after this is, not 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks after this is over, then I'll tell you. And then basically, you know what? I got other shit going on. So I tell you what, after 2 weeks, my healthcare, no, 2 weeks after my taxes, that's the healthcare plan. So 2 weeks after the healthcare plan, then 2 weeks. God, that's 6 weeks. 2 weeks. Tell you what, 2 weeks from a date of your choosing, 2 weeks from whenever, then I'll tell you. As long as that's an abstract date with no actual number attached.
And he would have never, ever made the move. So we have a rigged election, and because of a rigged election, we have potentially millions of people dying, because this thing could spiral into a nuclear war. I think it's the most dangerous time in the history of this world because of nuclear. Because
of nuclear. That's right. Yes, we've never been on the verge of nuclear catastrophe before.
Had power like this. And I think that right now we have a president that's grossly incompetent, that's being laughed at over there.
Yeah, that's not actually. So you're reading about your New York stuff. You're reading glowing quotes about yourself, and you're just ignoring the rest of the news. Is that how this works?
No relationship. He just sits there. Everyone's talking, screaming, and the other leaders, they're all at the top of it.
Hang on. Hold on. They did they what? They fucking what? What are you talking about? Look who's standing right. Even this fucking dude. Christ Almighty. He just envisions himself, doesn't he? That's what's happening. He's just bullshitting. He's just envisioning himself at this point. Like, they laughed at us. They're laughing at us. We're the laughingstock. When he says we're the laughingstock, he still thinks he's president. We have a president that's incompetent and a laughingstock. He still thinks he's president. That's what he's saying. That's why he always speaks about himself in the third person.
And he's just watching them talk. The whole thing is horrible.
He's just watching them talk. Christ. This guy's, the scars this guy has from his time as president. I mean, this is basically like ego PTSD.
This should have never happened. Ukraine should have never happened.
Yes, Ukraine should have never happened. What he means by that is that the USSR should have never been broken up because Putin would have been happier and there would already be a Trump Tower Moscow. God damn it.
Find myself in the weirdest position at night.
You don't say. I'm sorry, you what now?
It should have never happened.
I find myself in the weirdest position at night.
Wait till 2 weeks from now.
I'm praying hard for the health of this president because I think Kamala Harris would be even worse than this president.
Yeah.
Kim,
when she left,
Yeah, she laughs at everything.
At the immigrants. And
my gosh.
They call them immigration. It's immigration. Yeah. And you see people coming in on stretchers with their arms cut off, with their face smashed, and horrible.
What? What's this story? What the hell?
At the immigrants. And
my gosh.
They call them...
She laughs at the immigrants. All right. Yeah, I'm with you. I know you guys have a problem with her laugh. And then what?
Immigration. It's immigration. Yeah. And
It's immigration. It's immigration. And then what?
People coming in on stretchers with their arms cut off, with their face smashed, and horrible. And she's laughing about it. I said, it's not the right person.
Oh my God. I must have missed that video where they were carrying bloodied and amputated people past her on stretchers while she cackled at the sky. What?
Kim Jong-un also tested a new...
He never would have done this. I had a great relationship. We had beautiful letters. We were this close. Yeah.
Ballistic missile.
If you think you're in a weird position at night, Glenn, you should see me.
Oh, he's having fun.
What are we looking at?
He's having fun. That's the former president of the United States, the man who got the presidential daily brief, folks. There he is. That's
a split world. They're now talking about, the dollar going away and
yeah, that's what they're saying. They are now talking about the dollar going away. Never have we seen more insightful political and economic commentary than Glenn, the dollar going away back. Honestly, how many people...
A new digital currency. I mean, this is insanity. And I don't think people understand what this administration has done with these sanctions that will crush the dollar. I don't think people understand.
And people don't understand that the ruble is the dollar is the ruble, and when you get most of your loans through Deutsche Bank, the fuck are you supposed to do?
How that's going to affect their lives.
Yeah, think of all the things you buy with rubles, like Facebook ads and hookers. Right, Glenn?
That's true. Well, I know sanctions better than anybody because I sanction.
Yes, you know sanctions better than anyone. That's right.
The hell out of Iran, and they were ready to make a deal until the election. We would have had a deal within 1 week after.
Oh, 1 week. Okay, so we got to add that. So 1 week after the Iran sanctions, then 2 weeks after that is taxes. 2 weeks after that is healthcare plan. Then Glenn then you could start asking him for a date 2 weeks later about the story about what he really said to Putin.
The election, they were ready to make a deal, and I had the sanctions. But people don't understand that when you do sanctions, it hurts us as much and sometimes more than it does the country you.
No, it fucking well does not. So you were against the Iranian sanctions then? What the fuck?
Sanctioning. And what it does is forces these big countries like Russia or others.
Yeah. Are there other countries at this point?
Doesn't mean you don't do them, but you have to be very careful because it forces them to use other instruments, not the dollar.
Other instruments. That's right. It forces them to make money the old-fashioned way. Putin's going to end up on his back, and that's making rubles the worst way possible.
Different ways. They sell their oil for gold, or they sell their oil, and all of a sudden you.
Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah, that's going to happen because everybody else wants to give Russia their gold.
Wow, half the world is now off the dollar. It used to be, the currency when I left. It was very powerful. As an example, we used very strong sanctions on Iran, the strongest ever used up until that point. But that deal would have been solved, and we would have been right back on the dollar, and they would have been fine, and everybody would have been happy.
Yeah, it would have been happy. The Iranians would have been happy. They would have had a lot of dollars. They would have used dollars, the Iranians, and it would have all worked out, right?
It was all set to happen.
Do you think? I'm sorry. Yeah. Do you think?
Yeah, no. Hey, Glenn, don't interrupt him when he's being eloquent and insightful. AKA, keep talking.
Mr. President, that if this continues to spiral out of control.
Oh, yeah. How will we ever salvage it? Can you run back in and start throwing the levers on the presidency and right the ship with your genius mind? Tell us details about your plan.
With Joe Biden threatening China, which is just a joke.
Why? Why is it a joke? Oh, I know why it's a joke. Because you fucking think he's on the take from China, and you can't understand that doesn't fit your narrative that he's actually putting real teeth on the sanctions with them, and the threats are genuine there. So that doesn't fit. If he's on the take, it just seems like, Glenn, that you're full of shit.
But do you think, I don't see anything standing in their way if we're busy over in Europe with this president of China just taking Taiwan?
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, it's a good time to do it. That's exactly what they're looking at. The entire Western world is pushing back on Ukraine being taken over by Russia, and they're like, this would be the perfect time. NATO is splintered. The Western world isn't interested in defending democracy. Let's invade an island nation that we lay claim to while American soldiers are on the fucking beach and Australian, US, and Japanese boats are circling the fucking thing.
Well, except the only thing is that Putin's done very poorly, and she is looking at that, and he's saying, "I bet Putin wished he didn't do that one, because that one is no."
Yeah, that's what he's saying. I bet you he's probably elbowed somebody. He went, hey, third guy in command of a province that I'm probably going to have killed. Well, I bet he wishes he hadn't done that.
Could not do well. Let's see what happens. The problem is,
yeah, let's see what happens. We'll see what happens. Won't we see what happens? We'll see what happens. That's leadership for you. Nothing says I'm a strong leader with a clear and decisive vision like, we'll see what happens.
The danger is, does Putin say, all right, now we're going to escalate into the next level of military, and you know what that is.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to stop using lube.
He would?
The world is a little... Well, he doesn't want to lose, I can tell you that. It'll be very interesting to see, because he
doesn't want to lose the war. So if he has to lose his life and the entire country by being pelted with nukes, that's just how it's got to be. That's how we win.
Look, I knew him very well. This would have never happened. Would have never happened. Now people say, what would you do now? And there are things you can do now, but we had all the cards before he did it. All the cards. And I thought he was negotiating when he moved the troops. I didn't, I really thought.
Yeah, that's a great, it's a good way to end this interview. You got a couple minutes left before they fucking broom you. Tell Glenn that you thought this was all a fucking bluff.
It was a great negotiating posture with troops, and he wanted to get certain things. And they should have been able to do something, but he wouldn't have done it whether he got it or not. He would never have done it with me there.
But he's a guy.
Yeah, he's a guy with a lot of dreams.
You cannot have him lose face. How do you give him...
Why? Fucking why? Why is that a real thing? What do you mean you can't have him lose face? Fuck him. Who cares if Putin loses face? He's a shit leader. This is the worst military debacle in modern history. The biggest damage being done to the Republican Party right now is that this whole endeavor makes our Afghan exit look like looks like Prancer size.
A win here. I mean,
why do you fuck him? No, he doesn't get a win. He doesn't get to win. His people around him have to pretend they still want a fucking country. Fuck him. You don't get to fuck up this bad and come away with a win. Have you been looking at this? The Ukrainians are kicking his fucking ass, you dimwit.
Would you solve this if you had to walk in right now?
Yeah, here we go. That's what we've been waiting for. Enough of this. We'll see what happens bullshit. Details. Give it to me, big boy. Come on. Let's make it happen. God, let's hear it. What would you do? You walk in. Let's hear it. Come on. Walk right in, and everybody's like, all right, Biden's going to step aside for a second. Anything you want to do, you can do it. What would you do? End this thing. How do you solve it? And don't just say it never would have happened, because that's exactly how I will know that you're a fucking moron.
He's not going to walk away a loser. How do you give him a win? How do you?
Hey, asshole, he is a loser. What the you think they're still in Afghanistan, you dumbass?
Well, see, I don't think a win anymore is the NATO thing, that they're not going to go into NATO, because that's not, you could have had that before. They should have had that before, but it was never put.
All right, Ukraine should have been a part of NATO already. Okay. All right, so everybody who's saying that NATO encroachment is why Putin feels like shit, and Trump knows him better than anybody, and his solution was that we should have already put Ukraine in NATO. Fucking hell. By the way, your solution does not involve fucking time travel. Any suggestion that you come up with that involve infinity stones is fucking moronic.
It was never put on the table.
Right.
There was nobody saying, let's do this. And certainly it should have been, because I guess they didn't believe, they didn't think he was really serious about doing it. Very few people did. Maybe nobody except.
Who? Who are you talking about? You talking about Zelensky joining NATO or Putin invading? They didn't think it was serious, so they didn't want to let them join. The fuck are you talking about?
Him did. And, I think he made a tremendous mistake. And on a humanitarian basis, it's as bad as anyone's ever seen. I mean, it'll take 100.
That's not fucking true, dum-dum. There are still World War II vets alive. As bad as anyone's ever seen. There are people alive who were near Nagasaki, you dimwit.
Used to rebuild that country, and they're knocking down buildings and things that are magnificent, old. We have in this country 200 years.
So what you would do is we put you back in charge. We put you in the Oval Office. You get your hand on the fucking button, and you can throw all the switches you want. You're the Wizard of Oz again. And what would you do? Bitch about real estate.
Buildings that we think they're great.
Yeah. They
have buildings that are thousands of years old. It's like.
No, they don't. Ukraine does not have buildings that are thousands of years old. I do want some icing. That's true.
Things that are very old and very beautiful.
Yeah. Very old. Very old. Now they're very old and very bombed. What's your fucking point? What are you going to do?
Well, and they're gone. They're wiped out. A lot of things are.
Yes, we know what's happening. He asked you what you would do about it. You fucking chump.
Yeah, a lot of, most importantly, the people. But
yeah. I mean, there's some people there that are thousands of years old.
Work and so much is just the country is devastated. It's going to take 100 years to rebuild it.
Answer the fucking question. Jesus. What country does he think Russia's attacking? Egypt? Christ almighty.
Country.
Mr. President, thank you so much. Are you...
Wait. Hold on. Look, Glenn has the look of a man whose soul has been destroyed. He's Trump has taken his ego and his sense of help and hope and marched a mud hole in it and stomped it dry. May I remind you, the fucking question is, if you were in charge, what would you do? And the answer was, they have old buildings that are thousands of years old that are going to take hundreds of years to rebuild, and not to mention the people.
Are you looking forward? Do you see more things coming from?
Yes, there are things happen. He sees more future in the future. What the fuck?
The Durham report that will help your...
No. You don't get to... What are you looking at the ceiling for? The answer is not on the ceiling, Glenn.
Well, I think so. I mean, it looks like he set a foundation. And if you look at...
Yes, a foundation for this. This is a lawsuit that is thousands of years old. And if we let these Democrats invade it, It will take hundreds of years to rebuild. Like, Jesus Christ, this dude is fucking dumb.
These are Hillary Clinton people, and he's got a very strong foundation. And you look at that, and now you look at the Times where they did. I thought that was another terrible story, really terrible. They knew all about Hunter Biden. They said they misread it. They knew all about Hunter Biden and the criminality and made a 17-point difference. But we won it anyway. We got 75 million votes. We got more votes than any.
Yeah. He's got to cut you off at this part, otherwise you'll get his clip pulled off of fucking YouTube. I mean, I'm gonna report it right after I'm done.
President has ever gotten. I was told if I got what I got the last time. Yeah. We got 12 million.
If I bought what I bought the last time, I bought my way into the presidency again. And then, God damn it, all these people got to vote.
More votes. I was told if we got what we got the last time we went. So, I think that a lot of things are going to be happening over the coming year.
Yeah, that is true. A lot of things are going to be happening over the coming years. These are the kind of predictions that can get you a job on Flashpoint. The man is a prophet. He's like Dopestradamus or Nostradumbass.
You're lucky to be doing what you're doing because your show is going to get very interesting.
Your show is, yes, it's going to get very interesting. It sure as fuck isn't now.
So is the world, unfortunately.
Yeah. Hey, dumbass, he thinks the world's going to end.
Unfortunately, because much of it is sadly, I have to say.
Yeah. Mr. President, thank you so much.
Yeah, much of it is sadly.
Well, unfortunately, because much of it is sadly, I have to say.
Yes. Mr. President, thank you so much for talking.
Yeah. Remind everybody that the future is dark and full of hatred and terribleness, even though I will be making a huge jump in the ratings covering the total destruction of humankind.
To us, I really appreciate it. This is something that every American, I don't care who you voted for, how you feel about any of the people.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this part is bullshit too.
Are involved here. Every American should care what happened and the power that has been gathered.
Spit it the fuck out.
By Hillary Clinton and the DN.
The power that has gathered by Hillary Clinton's not the fucking president. She even run the second time. The fuck are you talking about? She's a private citizen, just like her husband.
See, and how corrupt we have become. We won't have.
Well, that is true. Touche, Glenn. You are corrupt. Trump's corrupt. Stu's probably corrupt too. Fuck him.
Fair elections and won't have freedom until somebody pays a price for what has happened.
Yeah, we are totally shut down in America. We don't have any freedoms left. There used to be a time when a cupcake could go on the internet, say whatever the fuck he wants, swear up and down, and get on any site. And I mean, if I wanted to, I could go total anti-vax. I could go total big lie conspiracy, make that sweet money on YouTube. But now they won't let me. So I got to go to BitChute and make chump change. That ain't freedom.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Glenn. And we have a very corrupt media. Remember that.
I know.
Very corrupt.
That's rude. Glenn is in the media. You gonna take a fucking pot shot at him on the way out the door? What a bastard.
Next time we're on, I'll ask where the media is in the lawsuit. Thank you so much. God bless.
Yeah, you can't sue the media, fucko. Freedom of speech. Again, I thought the left was supposed to be anti-freedom of speech. You want to fucking sue the news for making you feel bad? Good Lord. Hi, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. We deal with this every day. We go through this stuff. It's a joy. It's a pleasure. It's a lot of fun.